Hi, this is Hank reporting from Kyiv, and this is my update on Russian-Ukrainian war. Let's see what happened over the last 24 hours. 3 Russian oil plants damaged. Europe Day celebration. Russia doubled airstrikes in 2024. Gazprom shows net loss $6.5 billion. 10th anniversary of invasion of Mariupol. Russian oil depots were hit by drones in Krasnodar region at a distance of approximately 300 kilometers from territory controlled by Ukraine. There was a fuel leak at one of the oil depots, and at another 3 tanks of petroleum products caught on fire. And after that, another much larger oil refinery, Gazprom Neftekhim Salavat, was hit by a drone. As the internet says, it is number 10 among all Russian refineries that deals with oil refining and petrochemicals. Simply put, it produces gasoline, diesel, and other petroleum products in large volumes. What's interesting is the distance. This plant is located 1,500 kilometers from the territory of Ukraine, so they say that this is a new record. As you can see, the destruction of Russian refineries continues and has a very painful impact both on supplying the occupying army on the territory of Ukraine and limits the profits that Russia receives from trading fuel on world markets. All they can do now is sell crude oil, thereby losing most of their profits. At the same time, we do not know exactly how big losses Russia is suffering because all the data is strictly classified. This data could provide an economic forecast when Putin runs out of money and can no longer finance this terrible war from oil sales. This process seems to be going well, and we should continue. Today we celebrate Europe Day. Our Europe is a voluntary union of nations, communities, and millions of very different people, a union of values, and this is the true European strength. Together we must continue to multiply this strength, taking care of the protection of life and common values on our continent, to do everything to pass on to our children as an inheritance our entire Europe, peaceful, united, and the one which we really want to live in, which neither Hitler nor Putin will break. They are able to steal years of peace from Europe, but not our common destiny. The destiny of those who defeats evil, protects life, and values peace. This is a quote from President Zelensky's speech, and I agree with these words. I don't understand how someone can still say that the Ukrainians only want to fight endlessly. This war is for the protection of our values, not just our kilometers of land. I had a conversation with a man from Germany who tried to convince me that we need to accept the lost territories and negotiate peace. I will occasionally refer to this person as a German guy, and I'll make a separate video about this conversation since it is because of it that I decided to speak on the camera. It's important for me to tell those who do not immerse themselves in the essence of this war that we are fighting for survival and for a place in the civilized world. So for us, Europe Day is a hope for a better future with the support of adequate neighbors who first of all respect the laws and human rights. From the 1st of January to 9th of May in 2023, Russians launched 466 missiles at our cities, and in the same period in 2024 there are already more than 800. The number of suicide drones has now increased from 425 to 1,664. This is a huge problem, and we still need more air defense systems. Just imagine that at 4 a.m. the siren starts howling and the rockets explode over your house, and sometimes the debris fall on residential areas and kill sleeping people. Not even the missiles themselves, but their remains. It seems to me that the whole world is already tired of hearing that another dozen of people were killed in Ukraine while everyone was sleeping. But this is our terrible reality. All we want is to live peacefully on our land and sleep at home without fear of Russian missiles. I'll say it again, please help us protect the sky. Vote for providing Ukraine with air defense systems. Gazprom, the main enterprise in the Russian oil and gas industry, suffered a record loss in 25 years and was forced to start selling its property. The corporation sells large real estate properties in Moscow, including offices, resorts, industrial premises, and even parking lots. Everything that was built and bought for many years with money received from gas trade, primarily from Europe. As you know, with the beginning of full-scale invasion in Ukraine, the European countries had to resolve the issue of changing the main gas supplier, which cut off magical flow of money to finance this bloody war. What an irony. The buyer was able to find other sellers whose hands were not smeared with blood. I immediately remember stories about life in the Soviet Union when the seller was considered the master of the situation and the buyer had to please him in order to be able to buy scarce goods. So many years have passed, but these terrible Soviet habits remains in their hands. Gazprom showed a net loss of approximately $6.5 billion last year and reported a drop in revenue by as much as 27%. Wow! Actually, this might be the biggest news for today. At the same time, Gazprom's debt amounted to approximately $66 billion, with the value of all their assets estimated at approximately $50 billion. It's difficult to calculate exactly because of the ruble exchange rate, which is artificially supported by Putin's government. It's unknown how much the ruble is actually worth on the free market. So also, let's keep in mind that historically Russians always lied about the numbers. The entire Soviet Union throughout history painted fabulous figures for wheat, corn, tanks, tons, so there is no exact data here either. But if these terrible numbers were shown, then you can only imagine what is really there. Maybe that's why their top managers die so often now. Anniversary of the start of active hostilities in Mariupol. On this day, 10 years ago, pro-Russian armed separatists attacked a police station, killed several officers and burned the building. And when the people from other cities and countries pick up Russian propaganda narrative that Ukraine oppressed Russian speakers in the Donbas region, I want to scream in their faces. I was born and raised in Mariupol. I spoke Russian most of my life and never experienced any problems. It was always a peaceful industrial city where people came to relax on the beach in summer. In 2012, I was offered to apply for an international press card so that I could shoot news for a Danish agency. And then I laughed and said that I live in Mariupol and nothing really happens here. This was 2 years before the start of the real war. Today I'm having a hard time with this day because I feel like I've been just traveling to different cities and countries for 10 years because I have nowhere to return. My home was destroyed, people close to me were killed. What kind of sympathy for Russians can I talk about now? Anyone who sincerely believes that they are liberating or protecting someone cannot see beyond their own nose. I was released from a peaceful life. Well, that's it for today. This was my news update from Ukraine for the day number 806 of the full-scale Russian invasion. Thank you everyone who supports our fight for freedom, and take care.